What is going on, everybody? Back again for another episode of Sunday Reset with Will and Friends. And today, I'm honored to welcome a truly remarkable guest to the show and friend, Shannon Orton. Shannon is a breast cancer survivor, a model, a devoted wife and mother, and someone who describes herself as a beautifully bruised woman. Her story is one of resilience, grace, and courage. Not just surviving one of life's hardest challenges, but transforming them into a source of strength and inspiration. She's walked through the fire and come out not only standing, but shining. And I can't wait for you all to hear her journey. Shannon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Will. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And so I want to set the stage, everybody, and I noted, her experience with breast cancer. And so Shannon and I are friends. And we used to work together at a company and have both since left. And for my current day job, I was traveling to Detroit for work, and that's where Shannon lives.
Detroit, what?
And she's got to
Had
call
to.
it out. She's
Had
got
to.
to.
Had to.
And so she's there, and I'm gonna have dinner with her while I'm there. I'm meet her husband, who I haven't got to meet yet. And as I'm landing on the plane, I get a note from her saying she's not going to be able to make it. And so we talk really quickly, and that's when she told me that day she found out that she has cancer. A whirlwind of emotions for me, whirlwind of emotions for her. So Shannon, I know how I experienced that day. But can you help, for anybody listening, paint the picture of what that day was like for you?
Ooh. Uh, Highest of the highs and lowest of the lows. Same day. Uh, when I found out that I had breast cancer, I found out through my charts. So for those who aren't familiar with what my charts is, it's basically a portal. When you get your test results, whether it be for blood work or a biopsy, they send you a notification, an email, hey, your results are ready. Now, quick plug on the side. To me, they need some type of software that allows them to have workflows that if it's positive, if it's a critical illness, then it needs to go to the patient's doctor and then the doctor call versus me opening my email at 12:30 in the afternoon on a Monday and finding out I have cancer. Um, so so I get the email. It's about a little after 12 on Monday, Monday, September 23rd of 2024. Uh, and I call Bernie in, my husband Bernie. I call him in and I'm like, let's look at it together, right? Let's do it. And it comes up and it says malignant. I know what malignant means. I lost my mother to lung cancer. I lost my grandmother to lung cancer. I understand the assignment with cancer. And you have the pit in your stomach because I feel like I've been running from cancer all of my life. So the worst fear came true, right? And the first thing I said to my husband was, I don't know if I had this fight in me. I thought, honestly, that was the first thing I said. I was like, because I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means I saw what chemo did to my mother. I saw how cancer just, I mean, my mom was dead in 3 months. She had a pulled muscle symptom and then was gone in 3 months. So it's a really bad relationship that I have with I mean, most people do. So everybody's touched by it, whether it
Right.
be, you know, somebody's had it or somebody that they know or whatever the case may be. So at the time I was still at our previous company. At the time I was reporting to a new manager. I called her right away and said, hey, I'm going to take the rest of the day. I just found out that I had breast cancer. Um, my husband took the rest of the day off as well. I texted and called you because it was like, oh wait, oh shit, we're meeting Will for dinner tonight. I don't think we're up for it tonight. I don't think.
No, not at all. And it was such a weird on my end of it, because obviously my first instinct is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God,
Of
like all these
course.
different things. And at the time, I didn't know if Bernie knew. I didn't know who knew what.
Yes.
And all I could think in my head was if I was in a similar boat. Again, I didn't know that Bernie already knew as well.
Sure.
And I'm painting myself the picture, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to tell Alexis? How am I going to tell my wife
Mm,
that I
mm.
have like,
A
and
critical
so,
illness.
right. Like, and so or in your case, your son, I don't have kids, but for
Right.
you have a son,
Mhm.
and he's old enough to know what this is and and so how do you tell the people you love? And so like, again, me, outside of your situation, I was sitting there and I was like, if she needs to just like go with me somewhere just to like yell and scream and get it all out before she goes
Mhm.
to tell them, I'll be that for you.
Yeah,
But I
she's
also
so
never, I
sweet.
mean, be with your family, be with whoever you want to be with. But I could see a world where if I'm in your shoes, I'm not ready to tell them that.
That because you're not you're what happens is it's like it's a sucker punch,
Mhm.
because I'll give the back a little bit more of a backstory of that day coming up to September 23rd of last year. So in February of 24, right before the last sales kickoff when we were all together in Vegas, I felt a lump on my right breast. And I'm very proactive with everything. I'm a planner, I'm proactive. I get my mammogram and my physicals every August, no matter what. But this is in February. I feel something. I call my doctor right away. She gets me right in. She's like, it's probably nothing, but we're going to do a diagnostic ultrasound and a mammogram just to be safe. So I did that in March of 24. Nothing. They found nothing. So between of 2024 to August of 2024, cancer grew in my body. And I did my thankfully I did my mammogram in August, my regular mammogram. They called me right away. I was actually in Florida for a girls trip because you know I love my girls trips. And they were like, you need another diagnostic ultrasound. And Will, I thought it was a money grab. I said, "Hey guys, double check your documents. I was just there in March and I just did this and everything's negative." And they checked it to be safe, and then they called back and said, "No, you need to come in." I came in, and then it was like, we need to do a biopsy." And it's hard to even say that word out loud because it feels so much more real when they say biopsy and not diagnostic ultrasound, right?
They're taking a
And
piece of you.
they're taking a piece of you, and it's not. I don't care how much they numb it or whatever. It's you could feel them taking a piece of you out, right? And you're trying to like breathe and like, oh my God, just get it out and not be worried. I had my biopsy on September 20th on a Friday and found out that I had cancer on Monday. So it was very, now I will say cancer was good for me. Cancer was the ultimate shutdown. I didn't need a reset. I think I needed a shutdown. I like, when you turn off your computer and you're just like, that's how I got turned, shut down, shut the fuck down. You need to focus on the right things. You're focusing on the wrong things. It allowed me to, well, number one, I understand mortality, but the day that I found out that I had cancer, I'm sitting with Bernie at home and we're talking about, because I am a planner, we're prepared. We've got to trust. We have all the stuff. And then I'm thinking about my son Amari, who's, just graduated from high school, in college. Um, what it does is it made me feel that I wasn't going to see him grow up, just like my mom didn't see me grow up because I lost my mom at 20, right? So it's all these triggers, um, all these things that happen to me that doesn't, because the way that I lost my mom doesn't mean that Amari's going to lose his mom that way. I have to remember that. But the reality is, I was thinking this might be it. And there was a sense of relief of, I don't have any regrets. I approve of myself and my choices. So everything that I've done in my life, good, bad, or otherwise, has gotten me to where I'm at today, and I wouldn't change anything. So I would, it was like a very emotional, very, um, I would say I was expecting a much worse outcome. And in the grand scheme of things, I've had the best outcome from the worst news because I ended up doing a lumpectomy. I was able to get in with my breast surgeon on Friday after I found out on Monday. We had a plan. I did all of my testing I have no BRCA gene, none of that. It was like I was plucked. Uh, after my lumpectomy, let me start over. So we have a plan. My, my breast surgeon tells me, unfortunately, it's stress and environmental. It's nothing that you did. I'm like, okay, so how do you prevent that from happening, right? Because I'm wondering, I don't want this to ever happen again. Um, she said it's likely that I'll have the lumpectomy and then just some radiation. So I'm like, okay, I'll take off that time for radiation. I was already planning to take that time off to heal. Um, after I got diagnosed with breast cancer, 2 weeks later, I went to a customer onsite. It was literally my best customer onsite that I've ever done in my career. Um, and then from there, I went to Colorado to see my colleagues. We had an onsite for that, which was amazing. And then I had my lumpectomy, right? So that was like it's like I was able to still live, right? That's how it felt. Um, I had my lumpectomy. We had a planned trip to Belize at the end of November. I was able to go to Belize. Absolutely amazing. I come back December 2nd for my results from my lumpectomy because they have to test my lymph nodes. And they say, Shannon, your oncotype, it's anywhere from 0 to 100, and you're at 25. 25 is on paper, you don't need chemo. But because of your age, because of the type of cancer that you have, you need chemo so this doesn't come back. It's like a preventative. Chemo, then radiation. But when I heard chemo, Will, I just thought, I saw what it did to my mom was a bag of bones when she died. I don't want to put my family through that. I don't want to put myself through that. And on top of it, I think what's so cruel about breast cancer is that it attacks what makes you a woman. So your breasts make you a woman. That's very feminine. Your hair, for me, my hair is my glory. My hair is a big part of my personality. And the thought of losing, I don't care if it was 20% or 30%, it was fucking terrifying, right? It was, um, but something I had to go through, right? Um, Also, a little quick asterisk I completely forgot to mention. When I talk about the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows, I found out that I had breast cancer at the same day that I was signed to a modeling agency. So I've been chasing modeling and pursuing it, doing all these things, and it happened. They both happened the same day, which I think was supposed to happen, right? So then I hear that I need to have chemo, and I'm still applying for jobs and still right, but I have like shedding around the hair. It was
Well, and it's modeling, and you're talking about the aspects of like what make you a woman, but you have to appear in pictures
talk your shit.
in these
Yes,
things.
yes.
So I imagine that has to be really like this balance of like this dream you've always wanted, and you're chasing after it, but at the same time, you feel, apologies for if this is a poor choice of words, but you feel less of a
Talk your
woman than you want to be.
1,000%. I didn't feel like I felt, I could notice things, but other people probably weren't noticing them. So I found out that I needed chemo on December 2nd. I would need 4 rounds of chemo every 3 weeks. So chemo from starting in December, ending in February, and then starting radiation in March. And gratefully, thankfully, whatever you want to say the word, I was able to take the time off and focus only on my treatment and my healing, and I fucking healed. I'm telling you what, like, I was able to literally be present with what the situation was, with how I felt, with not, I couldn't imagine. I'm so grateful that, again, I know everybody can't do that. I was able to do that and get paid for it, right? So I started chemo on December 9th and started shedding or losing my hair on Christmas Day. And that had me fucked up. I was like, it was, and it was so funny because it was really just around here, like around I don't know if you can see how it's grown back in, but like around here, it was shedding and it was coming out in the shower. I shed like a dog, no matter what. Most women do. Most people do. But it
I have
was
two
like,
sisters, I know.
you know the cleaning up the drain. You're like, oh my God, do we need to get this shit snaked?
Although I can't say anything. I'm a hairy guy, so I can't
Right.
say anything. I'm sure I'm a contributing factor. So
Sure, sure, totally get it. But it was instead of like a little clump, it was like this much in the shower.
mhm.
And it's Christmas time. So it's Christmas, you're seeing people, you're seeing family, but then you're also trying to like conserve your energy and um I hibernated, which I'm glad I was able to hibernate. I hibernated then. I was able to like color and meditate and like I was going to yoga. I was still able to move my body. That was a contributing factor to my healing. I moved my body in every way that I could, and I still do. Um, but it had me fucked up. Like I would say from Christmas Day through mid-January was like, how much more hair am I gonna fucking lose? Now, I mean, people that know me, that have seen me, like I saw my girlfriend last night that I haven't seen. She lives in Texas. I haven't seen her in a while, and she's like, I can tell that your hair it's like bob, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it turned out from the poison. That I
Yeah, and radiation is literally poisoning your body to fight the other thing that's
Yes,
killing your body.
100%. It kills everything.
Yeah, which is what it's supposed to do. But
Hmm.
there's consequences to that.
Yes, absolutely. There's consequences to it, and um, my doctor said that the way that I handled cancer, the way that I handled the treatment was very easy. And she said it's your mindset and your body was already in shape. Your body already was ready almost for not ready, but like it was easy. It was an easy
As ready
thing
as
for you.
one can be, right?
Exactly.
Like you obviously
Exactly.
didn't plan for that, but I
No.
would say for you though, based on the way you're describing your experience, you talk about your mother and your grandmother and stuff.
Hmm.
In some ways, whether you thought about it much or not, like you kind of always were preparing yourself for this battle.
100%. 100%. It's like just putting things in place, like little things that you do to make sure like we did I and people don't do it. They sleep on it. They sleep on the critical illness insurance in corporate America. If you're in corporate America and you don't have critical illness, it's like less than $10 or less than $30 a month. Get it. Because what that does is that allows you the freedom to take the time off if you need to take it off. Although you'll be getting a short-term disability, whatever, from your company as well, but having that extra cushion you don't want to have to think about, oh, I can't do this. I can't. I did the cold cap. I did the Digny cap, which is the cold cap that freezes your hair follicles to help prevent hair loss. You still fucking have hair loss because it's chemotherapy. Um, but that wasn't covered by insurance, and that's $1,500. Not everybody has an extra $1,500 to do that. Or, my facilities were 10 minutes away from my house. I understand the access to resources, right? Like all of it's I'm where I'm at because of things that I've done, but also the access to the resources that I have. That's the
Yeah, I
reality
mean,
of it.
well, and it's interesting because like I made a post that probably got like the most one-off messages from anybody, people who know me and not, this week talking about acknowledging luck and hard work.
Mm,
It is such a very complex. I'm going to do a whole episode coming up, just myself talking about this whole concept because both are true, right?
yes.
You, to your point, for you have worked very hard to get where you are. You built your life the way you wanted it to. You have done the things that a lot of people wouldn't do, and like there's no taking that away from you,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
Having said that, you also have the capacity, and this is one of the things I love about you, to recognize that like even amongst your hard work, there are other hardworking people who don't land in some of the positions that you've been in or
Thank
have
you.
the access like next to you or anything like that. Both things can be true, and I frankly just don't have time for people on either end of the spectrum. If you are going to throw your hands up and say the only people that are successful are lucky and I'm not going to work hard because why does it matter? I don't have time for that. I reserve
Yep.
my sympathy for the single mom who's working 3 jobs to make it work. That's who I
Woo!
reserve my sympathy for. On the flip
Hmm.
side, all these alpha bros out here who want to just sit there and pretend that it's all hard work and no one over opened it. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Like
Shut the
honestly,
fuck
like
up.
yeah, like
Hey,
recognize
yes, you
that.
you did the work
Hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
But you're telling me at no point did someone say yes when they could have just as easily said no.
It's the opportunities that you get that are. I think about my if I think about my career, if I think about my professional career and what I've done, all the things that I've done, from a fucking Hooters girl or a receptionist or right, buyer liaison, you name it. Someone gave me a chance for the next step, and I wanted more. I always wanted. It's like I think we've talked about this for because we've been friends for so long, but like always moving the goalpost.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like I think with my treatment, I had to sit in what I had and not think about the future, the past. Just think about right now, because that's all
Yeah.
I had was right now. Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you didn't call it a reset. You called it a shutdown because it
Shut
it
down.
re it reassessed your priorities. You, as much as I know about your story of everything prior to me knowing you,
Hmm.
you like you said, Hooters girl, receptionist, working your way up, building
Yes.
this a career while raising your child. all the
Yes.
while by yourself,
Yes.
essentially,
Oh, that
and like,
part. Oh, yeah.
yeah, and doing all this and wanting to set an amazing example for him. You fought and clawed, but to your point, every time you moved up, you also moved the goalpost and you kept
Yes.
going. But with cancer, it forced you to pause for a moment and go, what if this is the
This
end?
is it. This is because I think it's like I wish or I hoped or whatever I don't know what I want to say. I wish that it didn't take cancer for me to have that. I was like working on it. I felt like, that shutdown, but it was like relationships have been everything has been reevaluated. Everything in my life. Every single thing. It's like, oh wait, even the clothes that I wear, right? The drinking. Think about that. Like I mean, if I wasn't responsible, I would have been a wino, like on the corner, brown paper bag, drinking. I mean, I fucking loved wine. I drink it all the time. And the reality is it just doesn't work for me anymore. So it's just I think it's growth. I think it's experiences. Um, I feel because of what's happened and how I know myself more better than I've ever known myself. I think people, if they are intimidated by my light, they should get some fucking sunglasses. Because there's plenty of people that are intimidated by my light, right? Like they are. There's hate. Haters gonna hate. Uh, and I'm just gonna keep
That's a
shining,
good line. I like
right?
that.
Thank you.
If that
I try.
if that can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So if they're afraid of my light or if my light is too bright, then they better get some fucking sunglasses.
Get some fucking I'm not going to diminish
No, I did.
myself.
Oh my God, I've done that. I mean, how many of us have done that? All of us have done that, right? Um, no, I'm not. That doesn't work for me anymore. It used to work for me. Obviously, when I'm dimming my light or not speaking up, I'm eating glass, basically.
Mhm.
I'm biting my tongue. For what?
Yeah, there's a great like Maya Angelou quote. It's like, she says that, your playing small does not benefit those around you or something to that effect. It's we're all meant to shine as children do.
Yes. And guess what? There's enough for everybody.
Mhm.
So I want everybody to win, but in particular, I want women to win. Right, I do. Like that's of course everyone. I have a son, of course, right? But for like when I'm thinking about like when women win, it's the house is better, the house is happier, right? Like everything. It's the world is happier, I think, and better if when women win, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and it's so funny because in today's time, it feels like we're so advanced in so many ways, and then yet I'm seeing
Oh my
emerging
God.
these voices who are wanting to like belittle the no, you should be submitting to your husband. In fact, you should actually be focusing your energy. Forget a career. When you're in your early 20s, you need to be focused on finding you a man. And I'm like
I'm not
I
gonna be
like
able to
the,
do that. I
and I'm
mean,
speaking.
I'm not married. I'm like this is the thing. I love being married to Bernie. That's it. Like I'm not going to be married to anybody else. So if something goes wrong with us where we're like, whatever, he meets whoever, I meet whoever, whatever the case may be, I'm not going through the marriage thing again. I would just marry Shannon. I would just be with myself.
Oh, you already know where I stand on that. I'm
I
I'm
know.
for the
Oh,
street.
you mean
I'm
the
for the
street?
streets.
You already
I'm for the
said.
streets. I am. If I can't make it work with my wife, then I'm just. This is not me anymore, and I have to accept that I am for the streets. My entire life changes
For
immediately. And
sure.
by the way, just to be clear to everybody, that doesn't mean I want. What I'm
No.
saying is I
Sure.
value my
Exactly.
relationship with her so much, and
Hmm.
I love her so much, and I just know that if I can't make it work with this person, then maybe I'm just not suited for the conversation.
Yep.
But we hear a lot today about this like male loneliness, like male loneliness epidemic and all that. And my whole thing is like they want to paint it as, oh, these women are all doing this stuff and doing that and it's their fault. It's like, no, be a better candidate, be a better option,
Accountable. Yes.
be a
There's
good partner,
accountability. Be a
be a
good
good provider,
partner.
be a good listener. Like level up, motherfucker. Like, I'm sorry, like,
Level up.
be like
Talk your
you.
shit, Will Craig.
It's like, well,
Yes.
it's the same problem, by the way, that I have with guys who want to claim like, oh, that person got the job over me because
Don't get me
D and
started.
I, because
Don't
of
get
all
me
this stuff.
started.
Be a better candidate.
Be a
Be a better
better.
can. Be a better candidate.
That
Be
it's.
so undeniably better,
Mm,
then it won't
mm,
matter.
mm.
Because if it's on the border, who knows what? Just like yes, maybe someone is like, you know what? We need a little more diversity. They could also say, you know what?
Sure.
Let's pick the white guy because he looks a lot like us. Either one could go.
Correct.
But you're talking about borderlines and we're playing a game of inches. If you are a mile better than every other candidate, I don't know a company that exists that
Exactly.
won't choose you. But if you're not a
Exactly.
mile better, then why would they? So be better.
Be better. I think people are, I think what it is too, I mean, because I have to be exceptional at
Yeah.
everything that I do. I can't just be, I can't phone it in. There's no, in corporate America, there's no phoning it in for women, but especially for Black women. Like you have to be um extraordinary, exceptional on top. But also that's the only mode that I understand. That's the only mode that I work in. So it comes very easily for me. But it's also a touch of overfunctioning, which I'm working on. I think everybody has to work. I think um, that's not sustainable. Um, Probably that's probably definitely a contributing factor to getting sick, right? When you are constantly feeling when you're in survival. I was in survival mode for a long time, right? There was a time when I was working two jobs and going to school part time and taking care of Amari, and that's like I don't even know. People say, "How did you do it?" I don't know how you did it. You don't have a choice. You do it. That's how I did it. Like. And I'm glad and I'm grateful that I did because it makes me appreciate where I'm at and what I have now and how I can move through whether it's a new job or a modeling job or putting myself out there. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not the fear of failure doesn't exist for me anymore, which is really powerful and probably scary for some people that for the old Shannon, right? Because I'm different version. I'm completely different than I was from even this time last year. I am.
Well, and I think, especially in corporate America, I think it can give us this false sense of what the stakes really are in life. And let me explain what I
Yes.
mean. Like, we think of everything, and don't get me wrong, like there's a bad version of this too, where you like nothing's urgent ever, and like there's a bad version of that as well too. But we create this heightened sense of stress and anxiety and urgency because everyone's trying to win in this capitalistic game and all this stuff. And I'm sorry, like at the end of the day, if it's in their best interest to let you go, they will, and vice versa. If it's in your best interest to leave, you will leave. But your diagnosis with cancer put everything in, I have to imagine, put everything in perspective because suddenly that's a real stake. That is real stakes.
Correct.
Everything else is
Correct.
just noise. Doesn't mean it
Correct.
doesn't matter, but this will dramatically change your life. Whereas like if you lose your job, you can go get another job and you could do other things and you
Absolutely.
can figure stuff out. But
Hmm.
if you lose this fight,
I
there's no more
lose.
fights.
Right. There's no more fights. And it's not only me that loses, it's my friends. And it's a mushroom cloud. Like what happens is like you get the news and then it's like it affects everybody differently, right? Like telling my son, we waited to tell Amari because we wanted to tell him face to face. He was at school and he was like, he had something every weekend. So it was like, we weren't able to tell him until early October. Right. And and what was good about it, this is why I'm glad that we waited, because we had a plan. I found out on Monday. By Friday, we had a plan, right? So then it was like, okay, I could tell my in-laws because it's going to be hard to tell my in-laws, my mother-in-law, right? Like, I want to, when I tell them I have this horrible news and here's our plan. It's not like I have this horrible news and I don't know what's going on. They're still figuring it out and they're going to they have to do all these tests. No, this was the biggest, like, people talk about like getting your project management certification. I can get my certification because I used my cancer as a project. I treated it like a project, and it was so I'm in my day life, I'm a customer success manager, so I CSM'd it. Right. It was like, okay, here, what's the plan? Okay, what's the next steps that we have to do? Okay, then what do we do to get there? And then what are the right? So that made it easy. And plus having Bernie, Bernie was at every appointment with me, so he was my note taker because I write down questions before because CSM and the way my brain works, right? Uh, because 'cause what happens in any hospital room or doctor's office is they come in and they tell you a bunch of things, a bunch of words you don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and I'm like, "First of all, spell what you're talking about. Tell me what that means. Tell me what that is. Tell me what the side effects are." I'm not in the medical field, right? So I don't know what I don't know. So, um, yeah, I advocate for myself. I've done it. I've always advocated for myself, but now I'm louder about it.
So I want to get back to telling Amari though,
Oh,
because
yeah.
well,
Okay.
hold on, because so here's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
Because you talk about all the planning and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Was that serving as a distraction in a way, because
1000%.
because you now have to do to your son what your mother had to do to you?
1000%. Um, and Amari is well, I mean, he's my heart walking around. Like, my heart is outside of my body. He's just walking around all, like, doing his thing, being a grown up, or a young adult. And he came home. We're downstairs. We have a bi-level, so we were all sitting downstairs eating. And he, like, took a big bite of food. And I'm like, Amari, I know. My timing is fucking bone apple tea, baby. So he was like, he takes a big bite of food, and I said, and when I have to get something out like that, I'm like, I just have to get it out, and I'm like, we have to tell you something. He's like, okay, and I said, um, I t- I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and he stopped eating. He had like it was like chipmunk cheeks, right? He had his cheeks were full, and he looked. He's 20 now. He's 20. At the time, he wasn't 20. He was 19 at the time, and he looked at me, and he looked like he was 8 years old. And I said, and we have a plan. The plan is this and this, and it's stage one and all of the things. And so it's probably just going to be radiation at the right. Like it was, and he, was scared. And it's like with that news, you're helpless. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do. It's what it is. And you just have to, you can't go over it. You can't go under it. You have to go through it. So we just all went through it. And it was thankfully very easy to go through. Except, I mean, I didn't have any symptoms from chemo. Remarkable. I mean, now I know everybody has different experience with chemo and everybody has different types of cancer, right? With what I was taking, I never even got fully nauseous, never got sick. The blessings, the protection. I know that I'm protected. I know because I don't have my mom and my grandmother that they are literally protecting me and protected me through what I just went through. Like I can feel it, right? I have no doubt about that.
And so, after he finds out though, Mari, he finds out and you tell him obviously you have the plan and everything, but like what's the next 6 months with your relationship with him look like?
Um, it's I would say close in a way that is, when when you start realizing that your parents are human. Like, how old do you think that you were when you realized that, oh, your mom and dad are actually human beings?
I don't think it's like one pivotal moment. I think there's
Okay,
like little
series
I
of
I
things.
think I think it's a series of like chinks in the armor of
Mm-hmm.
like it's like you just see these little moments where it like dawns on you like, "Oh yeah. No, my parents not indestructible." And yeah, I don't think it's like you have this one big flashing moment. I think it's probably just little tiny moments that like
Mm-hmm.
accumulate until you get old enough to consciously aware of your own mortality. I think that's the other part is like
Oof.
kids for the most part, unless you're a kid who has grown up with a condition or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
most kids are not consciously aware of their own mortality. So how
Oh
could they
yeah.
ever like think about their parents?
Right. And I think for what was hard with Amari is I told him, and one of his teammates from high school on his baseball team lost his mom to breast cancer, literally like before senior year. You know what I mean? So and he knows what happened with my mom and my grandmother. So we are becoming friends, if that's the right way to say it. Like he calls just to check in on me. or right. We go like we've always been close. Like we play Monopoly or 31, or we'll go bowling together. Like we try to have like a mother son. Um, I try to get as much time as I can. I'm gonna go see him on Monday because I he hasn't been home and I miss him. So we're gonna go out to his apartment. But it was I'm so proud that he got to see me go through it and come out on the other side and see how I handled it. Right? He saw, yeah, this is really shitty. Like this is not good. There's never good about there's nothing good about cancer.
I think it's
Nothing.
pretty. It's like one of the only universal things we can all agree on, and that's fuck cancer.
Yes.
You know, I don't think there's a
Right.
person alive that's not going to go. You know what? Cancer's really not so bad.
Right. No, I mean,
That
seeing
doesn't.
the rooms, I think for me and Bernie, what we notice is every room that we went into was filled, whether it be the in a college's office waiting for chemo or the chemo room, or it's like in there and it's everybody, it's cancer. It doesn't matter if it's breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, it's fucking cancer. Everybody's going through this awful disease together. It's very, very strange. But also I got, of course, relationships. I built relationships with the people at the doctor's office because I'm seeing them all the time, right?
Right.
So it's like I just had to go back in July. Oh, so I'll give you an update. Okay, so I guess I'll have to finish. So started chemo in December. Um, as I said, 4 rounds of chemo every 3 weeks. So my last chemo treatment was on February 11th of this year. And from there, I was able to I had 4 weeks in between chemo and radiation. So I started my heels class in February. I started Krav Maga. It's like I started doing all of these other things because I had the time, and roller skating. And my hair grew back so fast. Well, like it started after chemo, around here, it just started growing back so fast. I went down to Columbus to see my girlfriend Jill. She did my updated pictures for me for modeling, and she just had to pencil in a little bit around the edges, but she's like, "You're good." Like she did such a good job. I mean, I love her so much. Um, so I was still like, even though I was in my feelings about losing my hair, I'm like, Shannon, just keep going because right, that's because this is temporary. This is what I'm going through right now. I'm not going to be going through this to get forever. My hair is going to grow back. I'm going to get modeling jobs. I,
Well, and
I
I
I fed the right wolf. I'll say that.
like that. You've had a couple really good like one-liners that I've really
Thank
enjoyed.
you.
Fed the right wolf. You know, I think about too, like, and I think this is a lesson for everybody that we can all take away is like understanding that like very rarely does anyone looking at you really notice that much. As we in our own minds think everyone's watching us all the time and taking these deep
100%.
notes about everything. And the reality is they're too
No, they're
busy
not.
thinking about, well, they're too busy thinking
Yes.
about themselves to ever worry about anything about you.
100%. 100%. People, I feel like the older that I get, the more I'm like, I notice it more. I notice when people are doing it, but I'm also like, I, and I read this from your book, and we've talked about this. I don't compete with anybody but Shannon. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to fucking compete with anybody else but me because to me, that's the only person that I need to be competing with. I don't need to be competing with someone who looks a certain way on Instagram or whatever the fuck, but really underneath it all, they're trash. No, I know everything inside and out of me. So that's why I compete with me. And I'm better for it.
Yeah, it's funny because I've that specific chapter. A number of people have like reached out to me about that, and like there's still people that see it differently, and I get where people are coming from. They're like, look, in the game of
Okay.
life, there are winners and losers, and like
Of
your company
course.
can win, but I'm like, but what I'm saying is like there will always be a bigger. It's what's that line from Yellowstone? Rip says to Beth, "There's always a bigger bear.
Yes,
There's
Rip.
always a bigger
Rip can
bear."
get it. Yes, there's always a bigger bear, no matter what. So like what I always think like when we think about um there's been lots of tragedies, right? You see people have tragedies. When you go to like a group therapy, I've been in a group therapy session after we lost a baby, and you think you have it bad. You think, "Oh my God, this is terrible." Or my feet hurt from walking. And then you meet someone with no fucking no feet, Or no shoe, like my shoes hurt. They're too tight. Oh my God, I gotta take them off. And then you meet someone with no feet that can't wear shoes, right? So it's like it's all perspective. Everybody's story and journey is their story and journey, and some people have it better and some people have it much worse or much better, right? It's I just have to worry about how do I want to live my life? How do I think about now, how do I want to make people feel? Because stuff is just stuff, right? Think about I think about our relationship and how we met. We just happened to be on the same team. Random, like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna apply at this company. Okay, now I'm in this company, and now I'm just gonna happen to be on this person's team, and then we're just, oh wait, then there's disclosure, then the sharing, and then now you're stuck with me. Literally, you're stuck with me.
I
You and
will
Alexis,
never
you better
view
tell her it's
I will
stuck.
never view it as stuck. You know, I look at it always as like, as you get older, I think you just realize, like, when I was younger, I wanted everyone to like me, and I cared about the quantity of
Mm,
friends. And I think just
uh-huh.
as I get older, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I only have really a handful of people outside of like family that I'm like, no, you're in my
You're
crew.
fine.
And
Yes.
and it's not to take anything away from anybody else, but it's just I care more about the quality of the relationship itself. Are we at a place as a friendship where you can call me the day you find out you have cancer and we can
Yes.
have that conversation?
Right. Right.
And do I
Exactly.
want to tell
It's
you about the big things and little things in my life? And if you're not,
exactly.
and that list is pretty small to me.
And I think that's a good thing. I think it's purposeful because there is something to being stealthy about your moves, right? There's something about um doing it in the background and then celebrating it when it's complete. Because when you're doing it in the background, it's almost like you just want it, you want that for yourself. You want the hard work or the vulnerability that you're putting out, whatever it is. Sometimes you just want that for yourself,
Yeah, I think that's part of
right?
it. But I will say it too, though, like, it's also okay to say the quiet part loud when it comes to like what you want in this life. Because I do think
A
some people take
thousand.
well, I think some people take what you just said a little too literally, where they're like, I'm
Okay.
only going to move in silence, and I'm never going to vocalize the things that I want and care about in this life.
Gotcha.
And I totally understand where you're coming from, because some people just like to talk about it and not be about it, as you like to always
Mm,
say. Don't talk about it,
talk
be
your
about it.
shit.
Like, you always say that to me, and I'm like, I love that. So I hear that, but again, people can take that a little too literally, and then they don't put out there in the world like, no, this is what I'm going after, and I'm unapologetic for it. and
Yes.
so, and so I think both things can be part of it. I think it's okay to say, as I'm plotting and planning, I'm moving in silence, and I'm making my things happen. But also, the world can't help you if you don't let it know, hey, this is what I'm
What you
about and
want.
this is what I'm doing.
And when you do that, when you are saying out loud what you want, it allows other people to say what they want or feel like they can a lot of people feel like they can't do something for whatever the fuck reason. Like they can't do it because of how they were raised. They can't do it because of where they were born. They can't do it because it's too light outside. They can't do it because it's too dark outside. They can't do it because it's raining out. Like if you really want to do it, you'll do it. That's the don't talk about it, be about it. And I have to shout out to my girlfriend Jill. Her husband said that to me so many that I think Amari was like 3 or 4 when he said that to me. It's like, don't talk about it, be about it. And it was like, fuck, that like it kind of like, oof, it gets you motivated in a way that's like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about doing it. I'm just gonna do it. And what's the best that can happen? I'm
What's
still
the shit? What's the worst that happens?
that's what I'm saying. People say no, okay.
Move on to the
I put
next.
I did it. I instead of I don't ever want to say, "Oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda." No, I did that. And this will happen from it.
And I
That's
think
it.
it goes. I think it goes back to what you were talking about earlier, about like not being afraid to fail. And you called
Mm.
that out earlier in the conversation, and I think
Oh, I used to be
that's
so terrified. Oh, I used to be so scared. I like, "Oh my God, I can't fail." Well, what does that mean? Like, no, you don't fail. You win and you learn.
yep. I never lose. I either win or I learn.
Yes.
Everything is just data.
Yes. Okay, so that happened. So I'll move it. I'll move a different way next time, or
Right.
I'll try this.
But you know what
Yeah.
you're not going to sit there wondering? What if? You're going to sit there going,
Exactly.
I now have new, or you try something and you're like, you know what? I thought this was really cool. It turns out I don't like that as much as I thought I would, but now I
Correct.
have new information about things I don't like. Same with like relationships.
Mm,
This one has always baffled me. People always want to look at like relationships and be like, oh, I want that, perfect thing with somebody. And like what they fail to realize is like, we're all, unless you marry like your high school sweetheart, which, that happens. I have an aunt and
sure.
uncle and they
Yep.
are still madly in love with each other, met in high school. Like
Oh,
it happens. But the reality is most of us are going to have a series of relationships
yes.
before we get to the one that hopefully lasts most of your lifetime.
Uh-huh.
And so
Uh-huh.
it's like every single relationship prior to that, yeah, maybe some didn't end the way you wanted it to, but it's still research. It's still information that you can take to say, you know what? I need to hold yourself accountable. Hey, I could do better in these places. Or
Yes.
on the flip side, they're this way. And I think for me and my personality, I probably need someone, they're very type A and I'm a little more type B and,
Yes.
or whatever the case may be, but you just take that and you collate it it's research. And that's, if we
It's
could reframe that to every decision in life, I think it would do everyone a world of good to realize that it's not, there are no real mistakes. For the most part, there are some heinous things people do, but for the
of
most part,
course. Of course.
there are no real mistakes. It's just research.
Mhm. That's how you it's and that approach that you're taking about it's just data, it's just research, is feeding the right wolf. Because it's real easy to say, "Oh, this happened to me," and, "Oh," it's like, bad shit happens to everyone. No one is, exempt from that. Whatever the bad but there's, of course, different degrees, different layers of bad shit, but bad things happen to every person. They do, and
And oh, good.
that's it. That's all. Period.
I mean, you're absolutely right, and I don't ever want to play the game of like trauma betting. Essentially, like, hey,
Yeah.
mine's
Well,
worse. Here's why. Mine's
yes!
like, stop.
It's
Like,
like it's the, what is in Deadpool when they meet when the him and he meets his girlfriend and they're, like, in the bar and they're, like, one-upping each other on trauma. Like,
yeah,
no.
it's not
Everybody
a
has had
competition.
some
Trauma is
type
not a game.
it's not exactly, exactly.
No,
100%.
and it's like
Mm,
I wish more people could like wrap their head around the fact that, to your point, yes, bad things do happen, and it's all relative and how you feel it. I think something else I talk about in the book, the way I describe pain, is like you wouldn't, if you go to a small child, a 6-year-old, and say, "What's the
mhm.
worst pain you ever felt?" They're gonna say it's the time they fell down and scraped their leg
Yeah,
until they turn 12, and then they break their arm, and now that's the new 10 out of 10.
exactly.
But you're not taking anything away from the 6-year-old. That from a
Nope.
relative perspective, that is the worst feeling. And then that
Mhm.
12-year-old, yeah, that's we're only talking physical, but then that 12-year-old turns 19 and watches the girl he lost his virginity to hook up with another guy. That's a different
Uh-huh.
type of pain.
Ooh-wee.
That's a
That
different type of
heartbreak
pain.
pain, oof.
That's the new 10 out of 10 compared to breaking your arm. And
I would
so,
rather I'd
you
rather
know
break
what?
my arm than get my heart broken. I'd rather break a
Right.
bone than break my than get because when your heart is broken, it goes through your entire everything is broken when your heart is broken, I feel, right? When it's like you can't eat, you can't sleep, you at least if you break your arm, you could just put it in a cast and then you just know, hold it like this or whatever the fuck you have to do, right?
Well, the
Mm,
thing about physical pain, to me, like I've said this to friends, I would rather walk into a bar and have every single person punch me in the face as hard as they can over over wearing a pair of pants that are 2 sizes too small for an entire day. Because
okay.
because for me, now this is different. Some people are going to hear that and be like, "That's ridiculous." Here's why. As you know, and I've talked about it before, I've had 6 brain surgeries. I'm going to have more. Uh,
Yes.
and my interpretation of physical pain has always been there's an odd comfort to me, which is that I know when I'm in the worst of it, this is the peak, and it's going to slowly get better, and then eventually I won't notice it or care. The
But the
problem with the
pants
pants is this mind numbing thing, and you don't know when you're uncomfortable. time doesn't matter. How many of you have sat there in your car and you really have to shit and you're like, how long until I
Yes.
find a bathroom?
Right. It's the
It's only been
same.
2 minutes, but it feels like an eternity because you're suffering,
Yes.
because you're like so uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. Whereas like physical pain for me is this is the peak, and slowly but surely it will get better. And I know that
Interesting.
I'm so comfortable with that feeling that I would rather that than the alternative.
Because I mean, it is all of it is relative. Like everything's temporary when you think
Mhm.
about it. But like when like right now, the way that you described wearing the pants, I'm like, it makes me feel like I'm wearing my pants are too. It's like, oh my God, it immediately takes you to that
Mhm.
uncomfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable in any capacity in that way. Like, oh wow, yeah, that's so. I don't want to get punched in the face. I've been punched in the face before. It's not great.
Neither one of
It's
those
not great.
experiences are good. No,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
no. Anybody out there who thinks are like, look, even
No,
if you
it's
win even if you win a fight, getting punched
you're
in the
still.
face still hurts.
It's not
Just so
great.
we're clear,
It's not great.
it's not fun. I would not recommend it.
It's not
Same with
great.
getting punched in the gut either. That's
Oh,
not
yeah, like,
fun.
oh, yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah, it's yeah. I've had a few skirmishes in my day. Thankfully I'm
mm,
too old for that now. It's got you got to really go out of your way for me anymore. But
yes.
but yeah, to your point, like it's not fun. But having said that, again, like when it comes to physical pain, I literally said that to a guy in a bar one time. There was a guy and just stupid guy, macho nonsense. We're exchanging words. And then I something came over me in that moment and I physically turned to him and showed him like the scar on my head. And I said, I need you to understand, you cannot physically put me through as much pain as I've already felt. So unless you're prepared to kill me, which I'm sure you're not, you don't want to do this because I'm not better than you at any of this, but I'm not going down.
Okay, Mr. Craig. Wow.
I'm not going down. That's just the way it
Yeah.
is. And he
He
kind of
probably
like
was like,
he was
"The
so caught
fuck?"
off guard. I think we ended up doing shots after that, and it was fine.
Oh,
Um,
see? That's how
so
see, I
like
love it.
I'm not sitting here looking at you thinking like, oh, I'm all these awesome fighter. Every guy thinks he's John Wick. No, I'm not. But my tolerance for how much my body can physically take is higher than most because of what I've been through. And
100%.
contrary to popular belief, this isn't break easy. Like you would need a baseball bat, and if you took a baseball bat to anybody's head, it's going to go poorly. So,
Correct.
like,
Correct.
I'm not special in that way, so that's not going to save you in this. So, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of tolerance and keep going.
Tolerance.
And
Yes.
my tolerance happens to be higher than most people.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but
that's
I'm sure there's someone that's going to listen to this clip later and be like, nope, I will take the uncomfortable pants over, uh,
over the
over the
punches in the
punch in the
face.
face. Yeah.
I
And
mean, is it like
there's no right
depend
or wrong answer.
there isn't yeah, but that is an interesting would you rather because I guess I would rather be punched in the face too because the pants too tight, that makes me think like you're suffocating, like you're
Oh
being
yeah.
smothered,
Oh,
right? Like,
pain
oh,
worse. A pain worse than death to me is like the idea of suffocating slowly. Uh,
can you
like,
imagine like being buried a lot? Like, I don't know how we got on the subject, but like for me, it would be like probably drowning would be awful.
yeah,
Drowning would be fucking
that's my worst fear. It's my worst fear.
because you're like, dude, like the ocean. I was just saying this last night. Like the ocean, we don't even know what everything's in there. It fucking will swallow you up, and you're not. What are you gonna do? You don't have any. My girlfriend said this last night. She's like, you don't have gills. I don't have gills. So I'm in the ocean, and then all these things have gills, and they take me under. I'm dead in minutes.
You talk about the parent thing of seeing your parents be human and stuff. So
Yes.
on the other side of that, my dad and I was probably like between 10 and 12.
Okay.
We were at the beach on vacation and we were out just like with like boogie boards trying to catch some waves and ride them in. And all of a sudden we kind of looked around and we're pretty far out and we realized nobody else is in the ocean and we realized the flags had changed colors and there's a riptide. And so, but I,
Wait,
being a
how old are you?
child, I'm like
How old?
it's somewhere between 10 and 12. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
no concept of what's happening. All I know is I see my dad get real serious. And, we do exactly how they instruct you. You swim at an angle and you slowly, and we ended up like a couple of miles down from like we were
Oh
staying.
my God.
But make it to and then it was only after that that he told me like what happened. Because he's like, I'm not letting you panic right now.
He
Um,
was like, he's so good. You know what they say? That's like the flight attendant syndrome, where if you're on a flight and the flight's going down, you look to the flight attendant because, right, that's who's like running the show. And if they're calm, you'll be calm.
mhm,
So if your dad would have freaked out, you would have freaked out, and then you both could have not been here, right?
right.
And that's, ooh,
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, and I think I have a similar trait where like Alexis will call it out sometimes, where she'll catch me and she can tell like a switch has gone off, and suddenly like my
Okay.
face gets very serious, and I'm just so locked in and so focused that like words like you're not talking to me right now. I am
Okay.
processing every possible variable here, and
Okay.
I am we're gonna get this handled. But like
Mm,
she can literally see like it's almost like the light leaves my eyes a little bit, and like I
okay.
become this like super focused person. It's very strange. And I
When
imagine I
does
get
it
that from my
happen?
dad. Oh, I mean,
Okay.
just like whenever things get turned up a notch, if we're in a position where it's like unexpected panic,
Yeah.
or like, I lived in Florida and so we had hurricanes and it's like, all right,
Right.
I'm going to go handle this shit. We're going to deal with this. And this is the plan and this is what we're going to do. And there's
Yep.
stop. Like we're going to do this and we're going to handle it.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
um,
Yes, you guys have had to go to Alabama
yeah,
before,
yeah,
right? So I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, we didn't, okay,
that's,
to be clear, we didn't have to go to Alabama. My logic has always been if we're going to bother to leave our home
mhm.
and our comfort and all those things, I want to be so far out of the way of where this storm or where this
Mhm.
hurricane is going that it's not even going to be on my radar, which means we typically go to this place called Troy, Alabama, and
Okay.
it's
I'm
inland
in Troy,
enough and it's
Michigan.
up.
Shoot.
Yeah. And so we go there because there's a university there. It's like there's places to go eat and all that stuff. And we
Okay.
know there's hotels there that allow pets. We have cats. Um,
Perfect.
and so that's where we go. And because like this last one, we knew people that went to Orlando. Orlando was still in the line of
It's
fire.
still right.
Now you're not going to have the
Exactly.
same flooding. You're not going to have
Right,
the same
but still,
flooding that we
like
had here.
I'm trying to get
But
out.
they lost power too,
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I want to be where I can still run, like do my life,
right?
right?
And
And
that's always been my logic. It's like I want to
yes.
get, but like I get it because what we drove, that drive should be somewhere like 7 hours. It ended up taking like 9 because of traffic. Whereas like Orlando, 2 hours,
Two
maybe with
hours.
traffic, it's 4.
Right. Right. Right.
So they want to get there quick. I understand that. I'm not like blaming anybody, but to me, it's like if we're gonna, my house is concrete slab. Like it's pretty
Yes.
secure. I'm mostly worried about
Yes.
flooding,
Right.
at this point, and so for me, it's like if we think it's a risk enough to go, I just want to be so far out of the way that I don't care.
I'm
But I think
saying.
there also is something to be said for I think it's worth calling out. Like something I learned in all of that is like my attachment to my house compared to my wife is two very different things. My wife,
Okay.
her father still lives in the same house that she grew up in. Like she's had one home her entire life.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like my parents, we've lived in a few different it's the same town, but we've lived in different
Sure.
houses multiple times. And so it's like for me, home is the people and like the experiences. And my wife feels
Yes.
that way too, but she also very much it is a reflection of the place it is in. So there's something, and I've realized because people make fun of Florida. It's like, how do you just stay in your house when all this? Because for them, like
Because
abandoning your home is a significant event. For me, it's not,
a
but for her, it
hundred
is.
percent. Yes, absolutely. It's like that is where that's where everything is, right? Like
Mhm.
in the sense of like not just the stuff, but it's like that's where you built. This is where you guys moved to get. Like you guys are married. You started your lives here, right? So it's like there's this. Um, you don't want it to. I mean, to be washed away. I mean, look at my girl. You know, you met my girlfriend Jill and Jessica. You met both of them, and
Mhm.
Jessica's condo. She sold it.
Go.
You know, it's like how many times it's like, oh, back to back in the same month, like last year
Mhm.
in September was
Within a week.
a
It
doozy
was
within a
crazy. It was
week.
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. It puts things in perspective. I watched people literally come off of boats to get out of their
Yes,
homes.
exactly.
And that was the wildest thing I've ever seen.
Crazy,
So,
crazy.
but when I think about like your story, then like kind of bringing this all full circle as we're coming up on the hour mark,
Oh,
I
yes.
think about like the sense of home when it comes to How did that change? How does your sense of home change
It's
after what you've been through?
mm, it's where I'm at and the people. So I think of my house as a castle, and everything in it is the most important things, right? And not everybody is allowed to come in your castle. They're just not. They're not allowed for whatever reason. But maybe if it's a reason that I don't feel safe with you, or my energy is drained when I'm with you. I don't have to anymore. Then that's what it is. That's really freeing where it's like I don't have to do the things that I don't want to do. I'm only going to do the things that are number one good for me first, because when I'm good, then I'm a better everything. I'm a better mother, I'm a better wife, I'm a better colleague, I'm a better everything when I put myself first. So um it feels like home for me is wherever I'm at. Obviously it's our castle. And I feel now after going through everything, it feels because I understand how protected I am, and I understand um how close and I'm not saying that I'm not out of the woods. I mean, I've got my I already had my mammogram for August. Everything's negative. Everything's out. I have no cancer. Cancer free. I was cancer free when they did my lumpectomy. But I'm on like an oral medicine every day for the next 5 to 7 years. And I have hot flashes now. Never had hot flashes, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'll be sitting like literally like laying there, and then my blankets have to come off, and then I'm cold because I'm hot, and then I'm cold. But okay, I'm still able to move my body the way I need to move my body. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life.
And that's what I want everyone, if there's like one message I want everyone to take away from this episode, it's that right there. It's the idea that you got the worst news someone can get, finding out you have cancer and battling that. And you, even in the midst of that, can find a way to look at it and go, I have a different appreciation for life. And I'm now able to reframe this in a way to help me focus on the things that actually matter. And hopefully it doesn't require
100%.
cancer for other people to realize that.
Exactly. Let my story be your wake up call. Let my story be your scream or your whisper to say to just my biggest thing is get your pre preventative done. Get your mammograms, get all the tests that you need to get done, especially if your insurance covers it. But that's another thing. Some women can't even get a mammogram because they don't have the insurance to fucking cover it, and that is disgusting to me. And I don't right
Yeah.
like what I you know I would love to do more. I'll have to figure that out. I still have a lot of time, right? Still got
You
time
do.
left.
Still got time left until that clock strikes zero. We all got
Yep,
time. Make the most of
100%,
it.
100%, 100%.
All right. Well, Shannon, I so appreciate you coming on. You are always
Of
welcome back on the
course.
show.
Thank you so much for
Any,
having me. This was amazing.
yeah, me too. And everyone, as always, be kind to each other, and we'll see you
Yeah,
next time.
thanks.